Hello, I'm Hans Peter Beck, and today I'm interviewing Rick Pizzoli, the founder and CEO of Salesforce Europe. Salesforce Europe is a revenue generation as a service provider that operates across Europe. Rick, thank you for taking the time to participate in this interview. And Rick, can you tell us what is a revenue generation as a service provider?
Thank you, Hans. This is a service that is fully dedicated to delivering revenue for our clients. There's no delays or cost in recruitment or incorporating in local markets or opening up offices or dealing with local taxes. We just simply get down to the business of sales. It's a flexible approach where you can drop in well-qualified and trained senior sources in your target countries, focused on your target verticals, and quickly develop qualified opportunities. Kind of think of us as the SEAL Team 6 of sales.
Okay. So what is the profile of your typical client?
If they're coming from the U.S., they typically have 2 to 50 million in revenue and maybe the same in funding. If it's a European client that's expanding from one market to the next, probably a bit less. I mean, if it's somebody that's founded in Finland, for example, and they want to expand to Sweden or the UK, maybe $1 million in revenue in their home market is enough. They need to be as well established in their own home market, have well-qualified clients, established clients, happy clients, a differentiated product, well-organized team, and kind of game plan to expand. They need to be open to new ways of doing business and having kind of a philosophy of, I'm going to do things different to beat my competition to market and not just, follow the normal approach. They need to have a product that can be sold or that needs to be sold. So that's typically a product that maybe is more than $10,000 a month if it's a service, or if it's hardware that needs to be sold via channel. So we do a lot of channel work. Signing a channel is easy, but really engaging and enabling a channel is a lot of work. Yeah. So what probably is less of a fit, or maybe consumer applications that can be sold off the web, or just lower cost items that can be sold off the web.
Okay. So how does the business model work? How do you charge for your services?
Well, first, we spend time understanding our client's business. And so that can be a couple of calls of really digging deep, understanding their target countries, their target verticals, the positioning of the product. And then we spend time qualifying the right team on our team to present the client, to represent the client. Then we present that team to the client. We have another series of calls. And if there's a good fit, we agree on objectives and terms, and then the client really onboards that team. They become an automatic extension of the client's team, completely transparent to the outside market. The fees are based on a monthly fee and a commission. We try to keep that as simple as possible. So there's no recruitment, there's no offices, there's no incorporating, no additional cost, just a fixed operating cost and a commission on sales.
Okay, so you carry the business cards of your clients?
Correct.
Okay.
We're completely transparent. So we use the business cards, the emails, the agreements. So for the market, we're completely transparent. We are an extension of the client's team immediately in these new markets.
So let's imagine that we have a technology company. They're out of the startup stage and generating revenue with their current sales and marketing operation in their domestic market. And now it's time to scale the business and grow. And they basically have two options. Option one is that they simply hire more people and they open new offices in new markets. Or the option two is to engage with an international revenue generation as a service provider just like you. So what is really the difference between those two scenarios?
So the difference in the option one, the traditional approach, is first you need to get budget. So it's probably $1 million to open up a new region like Europe just to begin with. So that can take 1 to 2 months to get that budget approved. Then you need to find and sign a recruitment company to start building the team. That could be another 2 months, and distraction from your home business, flights back and forth. That recruitment company is going to pull typically random CVs off LinkedIn or off the internet to make a short list of employees. Then that's another couple months of interviewing, short list, selecting the person. They need to leave their current job. They need to do an office search, office setup, payroll, incorporating, legal, tax. That's 6 to 12 months of lost time and revenue where you've lost focus on your home market. You've lost focus on the new market, on revenue, because you've spent your whole time building this team that you hope is the right team and you hope is in the right market. And guess what? Maybe you've landed in London and you're too early or you're too late. You've built this establishment that's very difficult to move and very expensive to move. And if you have to close it because it's wrong, it's also a black eye in the market and it's hard to come back later. Whereas if you engage with a revenue as a service company, first you have that first couple of calls with the company to really share your strategy. They source a team for you that's part of their team. So you interview the team immediately. It's typically with 1 or 2 weeks. If there's a fit, you agree on objectives, you agree on the terms, you onboard that team, you bring them to your home market, you train them for a few days, you review sales strategies, targets, objectives, etc., and you engage the market. And that entire process can take 3 to 4 weeks.
But I'm a little curious here. I suppose that your people are busy. How can you make resources available in such a short time frame?
In our business, we have about 60 or 70 resources that are engaged with clients today. We have another, probably the same, 60 to 70 people that we've interviewed, that we've liked, that we've worked with before, that are basically in the bullpen. Maybe they're half-time working with somebody else. Maybe they're full-time because they've just left another assignment. So we have a bullpen of very strong people on a per-country basis. So in each country, in Spain or Italy or UK or Germany, maybe we have 8, 10 people active, and that team has another 10, 20 people that they know that are available or going on jobs, going off jobs. So these are personal relationships, people that we've worked with before, and people that we can bring to the table very quickly.
So working with a service provider requires some level of competence and skills on the client side, I presume.
Yes.
So what is required for working successfully with somebody like you?
Yeah, I mean, the whole picture needs to be there, right? They need to have a solid product that's differentiated. They need to have a strong sales team and founders that understand the whole process. They need to have made the evolution from founders doing the sales to being a professional sales team. So that's a big step. The product needs to have an evolution from being a highly customized for each client to productized, where there's product releases and documentation around the product. Marketing needs to evolve from just technical marketing to value-based marketing, and not fluff, but really, what's the business justification for these products? Support needs to be there. Operations needs to be there, and probably very important is funding and time. It takes time and money to open up a new market. If you want to deliver $1 million in a new market, you need to invest $250,000 up front to get there. So we can deliver 300% ROIs, but there's an investment up front to get that revenue.
Finding competent and skills marketing and salespeople is extremely difficult for everybody. How do you tackle this challenge better than your clients?
Well, kind of like I mentioned earlier, it's because we live and breathe this business. We know the hitters in each market. So the verticals we focus on are telco, channel, and SaaS. Channel being either business hardware or consumer electronics hardware. And so the people that do those sales in London or Paris or Madrid, we know them all. So we know the guys that are very strong and we know the guys that aren't so strong. So if somebody wants to sell into Telefonica in Spain, I know the top 2 to 3 salespeople that really know that organization up and down, and I can bring them to the client's sales team immediately when they're ready to go.
Okay. So I assume that you see a growing market for revenue generation as a service.
Yeah, I believe so. Yeah.
Why is that, and how do you expect this market to develop?
Well, we've seen an explosion of software as a service. That nobody installs software anymore. We've seen an explosion in human resources as a service. We kind of see this as a combination of the two, and it's growing quickly. You wouldn't manufacture your own products today. You leave it to an expert. Why, if you're an expert in building technology and selling it in San Francisco, why do you believe that you're an expert all of a sudden opening up a new office in London because that's the right spot? Leave it to experts in the market. find the revenue, close the revenue, and then build the organization around the revenue. Don't build the organization and expect the revenue will come.
It sounds to me like opening new markets is a sweet spot for you. But how long should your clients keep on using resources like you? Is there an expiry date, or is it something that could go on forever?
As long as the team is delivering and the business model works for the client, so the ROI is there, you can keep expanding in this scenario. Employment laws in the U.S. are very flexible. Employment laws in Europe are very inflexible. The market was not built for technology. It was built for heavy industry. And so you can work with contractors. Legally, it's exactly the same as a normal employee, full-time, fully dedicated, and grow and expand as you need. Focus them on certain verticals. And maybe as a technology company, you get bought by a Cisco or Google. In most cases, these companies don't want all these employees. They want the technology. And so as a younger company, you're actually more valuable to a company who might take you on without the big burden of a European team. So we have clients that we've been with for many years, and we just continue to grow with them on a service basis.
Okay. What are the most common misconceptions that potential clients have when it comes to asking help from somebody like you?
First, we can't work in a vacuum. We need active engagements from our clients. You just don't sign a team like ours and expect them to sell. You need to do road shows. You need to be involved with the sales process. Another misconception is people think that they lose control. They think of, well, we have this service company in Europe, kind of like we have this development team in India. It's outsourced out there someplace. Well, in actual fact, I believe the clients have more control because it's a service that is integrated into the client's team, and it's very easy for the client to turn this up or turn this down. Whereas if you have an employee, you spend a lot of money bringing this person on, and it's very expensive to get rid of them. So it's a big step. Whereas a service, it's not a big step. It's just turn it up and turn it down. Another misperception is clients say, I want our team, I want my guys. Well, just because he's an employee doesn't mean he's any more of your guy than if he's a full-time service completely dedicated to you. He's still your guy. It's just a paper that's different. And probably the last thing that we see is people say, well, my product is too complex for this type of a service. We can source the best people in the business, 100% dedicated to our clients. So they are just as capable of selling a complex solution as any other normal full-time employee would be.
So what I'm hearing you saying is that choosing a revenue generation as a service provider to break into a new market is not so much a question about saving money. It's much more a question about saving time. Maybe in the long run that can be converted into money. But it's not the immediate saving that is the motivator. Is that right?
Well, I think there's upfront saving because if you go to the traditional approach, you have all the recruitment fees and offices and flights. So that's a big hit at the very beginning. But yes, it's time. It's beating the competition to market. It's a flexibility. It's getting the right team in the right market and the right verticals at the right time, and then expanding that. I mean, we've had excellent clients that they first put a team in London, and guess what? They were selling, in this case, an OTT platform, and all the big providers in the UK had already bought one. They got there too late. And so they were making flights around Europe. They could get meetings, but they couldn't penetrate those tier one telcos. They signed with us. We got them in all those tier one and tier two telcos and broadcasters. And within 2 years, they were bought by a major manufacturer.
Okay. So, Rick, let's just imagine that a client have been using you and they're very happy with that, but they come to a stage where they really want their own team. They want to employ their own team. How do you make that transition?
Yeah, we have 2 or 3 clients each year that come to a certain point. Maybe it's for political reasons or their VCs that say, you know what, we want to go through the transition of having this service in these new markets to employees. And we're absolutely open to that. They can recruit the people on our team. So they would pay a normal recruitment fee and they bring their people on and they become employees. And at the same time, we can also help backfill any other positions and do some recruiting as well. But we don't position ourselves as a recruiting company, but since we're there, we're engaged in the market, we know their space, we know that the people around, we can help facilitate that transition process.
Okay, so if that's what the client wants, and if that's what your people working for the client, if they want that too, you will facilitate that process.
Absolutely, it happened, like as I said, 2 or 3 times a year, and those have all been good transitions, and the companies have continued to grow from that point.
Thank you very much for your time, Rick. I'm sure that those watching have learned something new, and have learned something about this alternative to hiring your own staff and opening your own offices. You can find more about Rick and his business on his website, obviously, and I have listed his contact details after these closing remarks. I'm Hans-Peter Beck. Thank you for watching, and please visit our website for more free resources on how to grow faster than the market and faster than your competitors and make it to global market leadership, because that's the only comfortable position in this industry.